All right, good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to the House Environment and Transportation Committee for Wednesday, March 5th, our voting session. Before we get to that, you should all have on your desks, unless you already ate it, a Crunch Bar, because what time is it?
Crunch time.
Crunch time, right. So everybody breathe, okay, in and out. Everyone stay calm. A lot's going to happen over the next week and a half. Some of it you'll like, some of it you won't. That's even true for me. So everyone just stay calm, and if you need another one of these, I have a bag in my office. So everyone just relax and be kind to each other, and be patient with each other, and be courteous to each other, and I swear we will all get through it just like every other year. So with that, we will start on our voting session. We will go to House Bill 469. Chair Healy.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. House Bill 469 is a bill that updates obsolete references in the local government article relating to the Anne Arundel County hotel tax by changing the reference from the Annapolis and Anne Arundel County Conference and Visitors Bureau to Visit Annapolis and Anne Arundel County Incorporated. No amendments. Motion is favorable.
All right, I'll move the bill.
Second.
Okay, Bill's moving second. Any discussion on the bill? All in favor of House Bill 469, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Anyone wish to record in opposition? Okay, bill passes. House Bill 490, Chair Healy.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. House Bill 490 is a local St. Mary's County bill, and the only amendment is to change the sponsor to the St. Mary's County delegation. We don't have to vote on that. We'll just vote on the bill favorable with no other amendments.
Bill's been moved and seconded. Any discussion on House Bill 490? All in favor of House Bill 490, signify by saying aye. Aye. Anyone opposed? Okay, bill passes. House Bill 491, Chair Healy.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. House Bill 491 is also a local bill from St. Mary's County delegation. There's only the sponsor amendment to change it to the St. Mary's County delegation instead of the names of the delegates. Again, we could just vote on the bill straight. There were no amendments other than that. Move favorable.
Bill's moved and seconded. Any discussion on the bill? All in favor of House Bill 491, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Anyone opposed? Okay, bill passes. House Bill 1063, Chair Healy.
House Bill 1063 is a bi-county bill. It's a simple no amendments. The bill repeals the $2 million contract value threshold above which the WSSC, the Washington Suburban Sanitary Commission, may enter into a design build contract for a facilities construction contract. Move the bill. No amendments.
Second.
Bill's moved and seconded. Any discussion on the bill? Yep, sorry. Is there a question? Delegate Otto.
This takes the limit off of it.
It allows them to use the design build, and so it repeals the contract threshold, yes.
The $2 million.
Yes.
And both delegations are in full.
Unanimously, yes.
Thank you. That's.
Thank you, Delegate Otto. Any further discussion on the bill? Okay, I believe it was moved and seconded, right?
Yes.
Okay, all in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Okay, bill passes. House Bill 1065, Chair Healy.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. House Bill 1065 is another bi-county bill, Montgomery and Prince George's County delegation. The bill clarifies that the Prince George's County Council must appoint at least 3 members of the Board of Appeals in the county, and that a simple majority of board members instead of at least 2 members must concur. The motion is favorable. No amendments.
Bill's moved and seconded. Any discussion on the bill? All in favor of House Bill 1065, signify by saying aye. Aye. Anyone wish to be recorded in opposition? All right, bill passes. House Bill 114, Chair Boyce.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. The subcommittee recommendation is favorable. The departmental bill eliminates the ability for a non-certified individual to do a commercial application of a restricted use pesticide under the supervision of a certified pest control applicator or certified public agency applicator, and establishes additional requirements that must be met in order for a non-certified individual to do a private application of a restricted use pesticide under the provision of a certified private applicator. The bill also repeals obsolete provisions governing products containing certain pesticides that are no longer in use. Move the bill.
Bill's been moved and seconded. Any discussion on the bill? Okay, all in favor of House Bill 114, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Anyone wish to record in opposition? Delegate Naraki, Delegate Morgan, Delegate Baker. Okay, bill passes. House Bill 513, Chair Boyce.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So, subcommittee recommendation is favorable with amendments as amended. The bill prohibits a person who keeps roosters that are mainly individually from keeping a rooster movement constraint through the use of a certain enclosure or tethered, subject to certain exemptions. Subcommittee Amendment number 1 makes technical changes. Amendment number 2 strikes language that would have required the Department of Agriculture to enforce the bill's prohibition, and instead expressly authorizes law enforcement and local animal control to enforce the prohibition, alters the exemptions to the bill's prohibition, alters penalties, and defines the term enclosure. Move the amendments.
Amendments have been moved and seconded. Discussion on the amendments. All in favor of the amendments, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
And opposed to the amendments? Okay, amendments pass.
Bill is amended.
Second.
Okay, bill's been moved and seconded. Any discussion on the bill? Okay, all in favor of House Bill 513 as amended, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Anyone wish to be recorded in opposition? Okay, thank you. Bill passes. Does anyone wish to be added as a co-sponsor?
Yeah.
Delegate Terrassa, Delegate Baylor. I believe Ziegler and Guyton are already on. Delegate Foley.
All right, so I have delegates Terrassa, Baylor, and Foley.
Great. Okay, we will move on to House Bill 749. Chair Boyce.
Thank you so much, Mr. Chair. Subcommittee recommendation is favorable with amendments. It's a delegation bill from Washington County. As amended, the local bill exempts an existing agricultural building in Washington County used for agritourism from obtaining a change of occupancy permit if, one, the building's use of agritourism does not require it to be occupied by more than 200 people at any one time, and 2, total width of egress for the building meets specified building code standards. Amendment number 1 is technical. Amendment number 2 adds Washington County to a list of counties that exempt agricultural buildings used for agritourism from the Maryland Building Performance Standards. Move the amendments.
Bill's moved and seconded. Any discussion on House Bill 749? I'm sorry, on the amendments. All in favor of the amendments, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed to the amendments? Okay, amendments pass.
Move the bill as amended, sir.
Bill's moved and seconded. Any discussion on the bill? All right, all in favor of House Bill 749 as amended, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Anyone wish to record in opposition? Okay, bill passes. House Bill 1181, Chair Boyce.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Straight favorable. This is a bill that will establish a task force on the establishment of a state park dedicated to veterans care to, one, study issues and estimate costs related to the establishment of a state park dedicated to providing recreational opportunities and therapeutic services to veterans, 2, make specified related recommendations, and 3, develop an action plan identifying next steps for the establishment of the park. The Department of Natural Resources must staff this task force. The task force must report its findings and recommendations to the governor and specified committees of the General Assembly by December 1st, 2026. The bill effective date is July 1 and terminates June 30th, 2027. Move the bill.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Before you move the bill, I do have an amendment.
Yes.
I have an amendment to add co-sponsors and to specify how the county rep will be appointed from the sponsor of the bill.
Okay.
Move the amendments.
Second.
Any discussion on the amendments? All in favor of the amendments, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed to the amendments? Okay, amendments
Move the
pass.
bill as amended.
Okay, any further discussion on the bill? All right, all in favor of House Bill 1181 as amended, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Anyone wish to be recorded in opposition? Okay, bill passes. House Bill 719, Chair Boyce. Oh, I'm sorry, Delegate Ruth. It's, sure, okay. Anybody else want to be added as a co-sponsor to this Washington County bill? Delegate? It is, but it's in Washington County. Yeah. Okay. All right, so we're going to move on to House Bill 719. Chair Boyce.
Thank you so much, Mr. Chair. Subcommittee recommendation is favorable with amended, as amended HB 719. With respect to the Waterway Improvement Fund, 1, increases full state funding thresholds. 2, authorizes up to 50% matching funds above the full funding thresholds, and 3, increases small project thresholds. The bill also increases fees for 1, boat manufacturers or dealer licensings and certificates of number, and 2, certificates of number, 3, Maryland use stickers, and 4, certificates of title. Subcommittee amendments authorize matching state funding above the full funding threshold and increase small project thresholds. Move the amendment.
Okay, amendments have been moved and seconded. Discussion of the amendments. All in favor of the amendments, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
And opposed to the amendments? Okay, amendments pass.
Move the bill as amended, sir.
Bill's moving second. Any discussion on HB 719? Yes, Delegate Foley.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. And we had some discussion about this issue in subcommittee, and all I want to say is that the bill does take out some provisions for notification, public notification.
I think this is the next bill.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No.
Is this one as well? Oh, sorry.
No,
Sorry.
is this the Boat Act?
HB 719.
Yes, this is
You're
the
on the
bill.
right bill.
Yes, you're
Okay.
right. I'm
You're on the
sorry.
right bill.
So it takes out some requirements for notification to the public, which we had a lot of discussion about in the subcommittee. I voted for the bill, and the reason I did is because we got assurances that it's under the Administrative Practices Act, I think it's called.
Procedures Act.
Procedures Act, thank you, that requires that there be notifications. There's a notification part of that, and the language that was deleted was deleted because it was kind of a leftover from before that act was in effect. So
That's
I just
true.
wanted to make that point before we voted on the bill. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Great. And fun fact, it's actually the Maryland Administrative Procedure Act. Everyone gets it wrong all the time. Delegate Otto.
Well, all the acronyms, it's difficult. Thank you, Mr. Chair. I just question about the Waterway Improvement Fund is important to our area and to the bay and access to the bay. That's important, but it is a fee increase and proposals been made. I don't know how safe that Waterway Fund is. We raised revenue last year with fees to fund that waterway improvement program, and that's why I'm going to be voting against it, because I don't know if the security is there and the shuffling and things. Thank you.
Can I respond, Mr. Chair? Thank you so much, and I appreciate your comments. So this same bill came out last year with a tiered system for boating fees. That bill did not pass. However, the boating fees and the licensures have not increased since 1984. So you can get a title for a boat for $2 in 1984. It is now increased to $20. And so the department did really careful work after last year, looking back and then moving forward to say, this is the accurate amount of increase as it relates to inflation without overcharging. And so, yes, right now you pay for any size boat, I just want to make it clear, any size boat, $24 biannually. Any size boat. It's now $70. Seems fair. And so this is to essentially make sure those monies, Delegate, to your point, are in these special funds so that they can continue to do the work. And so that is the explanation, and I'm certainly happy to support such a bill so that we can continue to do the work that DNR does.
Okay, so fun fact, several members of this committee were not alive the last time these fees were raised. Any further discussion on the bill? Okay, all in favor of House Bill 719 as amended, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Anyone wish to record in opposition? Delegate Jacobs, Delegate Otto, Delegate Naraki, Delegate Morgan, and Delegate Baker.
Five fab.
Because it's a departmental, we're not going to do a pile-on. We're going to move on to House Bill 893. Chair Boyce.
Thank you so much, Mr. Chair. Subcommittee recommendation is favorable with amendments. I want to take an opportunity to thank the committee. We've been working on this since last year, when we decided in the interim that we will work through this. So I want to thank Delegate Jacobs and Delegate Adams for their patience in working with this, and to all the advocates and the and DNR for us getting to this point. So the subcommittee recommendation is favorable with amendments. The bill modifies existing penalty provisions requiring revocation for knowingly committing certain oyster harvest violations by requiring a 5-year suspension for a first violation and revocation for a subsequent violation. The bill also, 1, modifies one of the offenses for which under the bill an authorization can be suspended or revoked, and 2, repeals a time period within which a required hearing must be held, and 3, authorizes reinstatement of authorizations revoked before July 1st, 2025, and requires reinstatement of entitlements that were prohibited under revocations after 5 years after the date of revocation. Subcommittee Amendment Number 1 establishes revocation as the administrative penalty for a subsequent offense, and 2, clarifies reinstatement provisions for a person whose oyster authorization was revoked before a certain date. Move the amendments.
Second.
Amendments are moved and seconded. Discussion on the amendments. All in favor of the amendments, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed to the amendments?
Bill is
Amendments
amended.
pass. Bills moved and seconded. Any discussion on House Bill 893 as amended? Okay, all in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Anyone wish to be recorded in opposition? Okay, bill passes. Does anyone wish to be added as a co-sponsor?
I'm already on it.
All right. Okay. All right. We are going to move on. House Bill 93 on your voting list, we're going to hold. House Bill 155, Chair Holmes.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. House Bill 155 received a favorable with amendment from the subcommittee, and this is a departmental bill that authorizes DHCD to issue loans in addition to grants for energy conservation and renewable energy projects under a program required by the Climate Solutions Act of 2022. The bill also expands the sources of the savings that DHCD may procure to provide when calculating the achievement of greenhouse gas emissions reduction under the Empowerment Program. Amendment number 1 is technical. Amendment number 2 returns the language in the provision of the bill of existing law in order to preserve the intent of DHCD as it relates to the sources of savings that DHCD may procure or provide when calculating the achievement of the greenhouse gas emissions reduction targets. Move the amendments, Mr. Chair.
Second.
Amendments are moved and seconded. Discussion on the amendments. For the amendments, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Anyone wish to be recorded in opposition to the amendments? Okay, amendments pass.
Move the bill as amended, Mr. Chair.
Bills moved and seconded. Any discussion on the bill? Okay, all in favor of House Bill 155 as amended, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Anyone wish to be recorded in opposition? Delegate Jacobs, Delegate Otto, Delegate Naraki, Delegate Morgan, and Delegate Baker. Because it's a departmental, we will not do a pile on. We will move on to House Bill 222, Chair Holmes.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. House Bill 222 is a bill we've heard previously. This is related to corrugated stainless steel tubing. And as I indicated, it's been favorable with amendment. A short title of the bill prohibits a person from selling, transferring, and distributing non-arc resistant jacketed corrugated steel tubing, imposes civil penalty on the provisions of existing law that prohibits the improper use of non-arc resistant jacketed CSST, requires the Office of State Fire Marshal to conduct a study and make recommendations related to preventing a fire, the fire hazards associated with commonly used gas piping systems. Amendment number 1 is technical. Amendment number 2 alters the prohibition of sale, transfer, distribution of corrugated steel tubing, removes a higher standard from the use of corrugated stainless steel tubing, and it also requires the Office of the State Fire Marshal to conduct a study. Move the amendments, Mr. Chair.
Second.
Amendments moved and seconded. Discussion on the amendments. All in favor of the amendments, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed to the amendments? Okay, amendments pass.
Move the bill as amended, Mr. Chair.
Second.
All right. Any bills moved and seconded. Discussion on the bill. Okay, all in favor of House Bill 222 as amended, signify by saying aye. Aye. Anyone wish to be recorded in opposition? Okay, bill passes. Anyone wish to be added as a co-sponsor? Vice Chair Boyce, Delegate Holmes, Delegate Terrassa, Delegate Ruth, Delegate Otto. We got it? Okay. House Bill 372, Chair Holmes.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. House Bill 372 is straight favorable with no amendments. The bill repeals the sunset provision in chapters 466 and 467 of 2023 that established the Prince George's County Gateway Development Authority, thereby making the authority permanent. Move the bill, Mr. Chair.
Second.
Moving second, any discussion on this local bill? All right, all in favor of House Bill 372, signify by saying aye. Aye. Anyone wish to record in opposition? Okay, bill passes. House Bill 390, Chair Holmes.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. In spite of the sponsor, House Bill 390 received a favorable with amendment. The bill authorizes the county governments to exempt real property used in rental housing from county property tax if the property owner maintains at least 25% of rental housing units and affordable dwelling units in a period of 15 years, for at least 15 years, enters into a payment in lieu of tax pilot agreement with the county government. The committee amendments reduce the required amendment percentage of affordable units in a pilot agreement from 50 to 25, and it also provided the governing body of a county may require the owner of a real property to maintain a higher percentage of rental housing units as affordable dwelling units than the minimum percentage specified. Move the amendments, Mr. Chair.
Second.
All right, amendments moving second, any discussion on the amendments? All in favor of the amendments, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed to the amendments? Okay, amendments pass.
Move the amendment. Move the bill as amended, Mr. Chair.
Bill's moving second, any discussion on the bill? Okay, just to make clear to everybody, this authorizes counties to do things that they want to do them. It doesn't require any county to do anything.
Pile on.
House Bill, we can't do a pile on because we're secondary. House Bill 390, all in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Anyone wish to be recorded in opposition? Delegate Naraki. Delegate Naraki. Okay, bill passes. House Bill 1085, Chair Holmes.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. House Bill 1085 received a favorable with amendment. The bill standardizes the tax treatment of real property owned by certain nonprofit entities created by the public housing authorities in Maryland by extending specified property tax exemptions to all nonprofit entities created by the public housing authorities in the state. Under the current law, the property tax exemption only applies to nonprofit entities created by public housing authorities in 3 jurisdictions, which were Baltimore City, Howard, and Montgomery County. Amendment number 1 is technical. Amendment number 2 adds property that is planned for use as housing Amendment number 2 adds property that is planned for use as housing persons for eligible income and types of property exempt from state tax, all taxes of the state and political subdivision. There's no fiscal impact on this bill, Mr. Chair. Move the amendments.
Okay, any discussion on the amendments? I'll second. Any discussion on the amendments? Is your question about the amendments, Delegate Foley?
No, my question was, is his mic on?
Is it what?
It is on.
It's on.
Because we couldn't hear anything he said.
Oh,
You don't have to repeat it all, it's
Okay,
okay.
any further questions? Okay, all in favor of the amendments, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed to the amendments? Okay, amendments pass.
move the bill as amended.
Okay. Bill's moved and seconded. Discussion on HB 1085? Okay, all in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Anyone wish to be recorded in opposition? Delegate Jacobs, Delegate Otto, Delegate Silaberte, Delegate Naraki, Delegate Morgan, and Delegate Baker. Okay, bill passes. We're secondary, so no pile on. House Bill 785, Chair Lewis.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. House Bill 785 was recommended favorable by the subcommittee. The bill generally prohibits the governing documents of a cooperative housing corporation, condominium, or homeowners association from prohibiting or restricting, first, the establishment and operation of a family child care home or large family child care home. Second, the use of roads, sidewalks, and other common elements of the common ownership communities by users of the family child care home or large family child care home. The bill further prohibits common ownership communities and local jurisdictions from limiting the number of children for which a family child care home or large family child care home provides family child care to below the number authorized by the Maryland State Department of Education. The bill does not apply to housing that is restricted for occupancy to individuals over a specified age. There's no fiscal impact. Move the bill.
Bill's moved and seconded. Discussion on the bill. All right, all in favor of House Bill 785, signify by saying aye. Aye. Anyone wish to be recorded in opposition? Delegate Jacobs, Delegate Otto, Delegate Naraki, Delegate Morgan, and Delegate Baker. Bill passes. We will move on to House Bill 230, Chair Lewis.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. House Bill 230 was recommended favorable with amendments. by the subcommittee. This bill is a departmental, clarifies that required financial disclosure statements by officials and candidates for office as state officials include the name and address of any source of compensated employment. The bill removes the requirement that ethics training for specified officials and registered lobbyists provided by the State Ethics Commission be at least 2 hours, and clarifies that training courses can be given as online training or in-person presentations. The subcommittee amendments identify the topics that must be covered in this training course. No fiscal impact. Move the amendments.
Amendments have been moved and seconded. Any discussion on the amendments? All in favor of the amendments signify by saying aye. Aye. Anyone opposed to the amendments? Okay, amendments pass.
Move the bills amended. Second.
Okay, bills moved and seconded. Discussion on House Bill 230? All right, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Anyone wish to be recorded in opposition? Okay, bill passes. Departmental, so we're not going to do a pile on. House Bill 932, Chair Lewis.
Yes, Mr. Chair. House Bill 932 was referred favorable with amendments by the subcommittee. The bill as amended requires the governor, within 6 months of taking the oath of office, to first place all of the governor's interests in a blind trust except those exempted by the State Ethics Commission, which are subject to a non-participation agreement, or second, to divest interests that the State Ethics Commission determines may pose a conflict of interest. The State Ethics Commission must adopt regulations that, among other things, establish standards and requirements for exempting the governor's interest from the blind trust requirement. The State Ethics Commission must publish on its website any blind trust agreement, non-participation agreement, and financial disclosures regarding the governor's interests. Business entities in which the governor or specified restricted individuals hold interests as specified must disclose those interests to the State Ethics Commission if the business seeks to obtain a state grant, competitive award, or contract. Finally, the bill establishes penalties for business entities that fail to comply with the disclosure requirements. The subcommittee amendments add a penalty for failure to comply. Move the amendments.
Second.
Amendments moved and seconded. Discussion on the amendments. All in favor of the amendments signify by saying aye. Aye. Anyone opposed to the amendments? Okay, amendments pass.
Move the bills amended. Second.
Okay. Bills moved and seconded. Discussion on the bill. Okay, all in favor of House Bill 932 as amended signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Anyone wish to be recorded in opposition? Okay, thank you. Bill passes. Anyone wish to be added as a co-sponsor? Delegate Holmes, Stewart, Delegate Terrassa, Delegate Ruth, Delegate Long, Delegate Allen, Delegate Baylor, Delegate Ziegler, Delegate Foley, Delegate Guyton, Delegate Lehman, Delegate Lewis, and Delegate Stein. Need those back.
I have delegates Holmes, Stewart, Terrassa, Ruth, Long, Allen, Baylor, Ziegler, Foley, Guyton, Lehman, Lewis, Stein.
Everybody good? Okay, we'll move on to House Bill 1128. Chair Lewis.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you, Mr. Chair. House Bill 1128, the subcommittee recommended this bill favorable. The bill authorizes a land bank authority to first create a special fund for the purpose of pledging the assets of the authority to leverage private investment. Secondly, make specified loans or grants. And third, to enter into partnerships with other entities. The bill also requires a land bank authority's sale, lease, transfer, or other disposition of property to include a specified agreement, and authorizes an authority to retake possession and/or ownership of a property for breach of an agreement or other specified reasons. Last, the bill allows for a county or municipality to authorize a land bank authority to exercise the county's or municipality's powers to pursue in rem foreclosure of vacant and uninhabitable properties on which tax liens exceed the value of the property. Move the bill.
Bill's moving second. Any discussion on the bill? Okay, all in favor of House Bill 1128 signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Anyone wish to record in opposition? Delegate Jacobs, Delegate Otto, Delegate Naraki, Delegate Morgan, and Delegate Baker.
Mr. Chair, may I also explain that this has nothing to do with King Charles in 1635.
Bill passes. We have one withdrawal, House Bill 1135. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Okay, the bill's been withdrawn. For those who weren't here, the crunch bar on your desk is why? What time is it?
Crunch time.
All right, so everyone buckle up and breathe deep. We will come back at 1:40 for bill hearings, 1:40, so go stuff down that lunch.